I helped the villagers farm and sell shrimp, earning a net profit of $8 million a year. Yet, they slandered me for taking kickbacks and making blood money. Had I known, I would have smashed all the shrimp or fed them to the pigs in the pen rather than letting myself be part of it. The next year, I stopped helping them. I turned to help the neighboring wasteland village, full of salty soil, by starting ecosystem breeding. Unexpectedly, we made a fortune. Baishui village, however, due to altering the equipment, ended up with all their crayfish ruined. Faced with sky-high breach of contract fees, they knelt and begged me to come back. I just smiled. The ones who forced me away back then. Wasn't it all of you?
Come, let's toast to Chen Mo. If it weren't for this young man, Chen Mo, bringing back technology from the city, could our village's hundreds of acres of ponds produce such plump crayfish? From this first batch alone, our village made a net profit of $8 million.
Village Chief Lu Guangsheng raised his glass, his fat face flushed from drinking. He spat while talking. And the villagers raised their glasses one by one, looking at me with fanaticism in their eyes. Some planned to renovate their houses. Others talked about buying cars for their sons. I rubbed my bloodshot eyes and downed my glass of liquor. The burning sensation slid down my throat and into my stomach, but it couldn't soothe the fatigue of working late nights for 2 weeks. I'm Chen Mo, formerly a supply chain architect in the provincial capital. To revitalize the ponds in my hometown, I quit my $1 million salary job and poured in the $2 million of savings I'd kept from 5 years of work. Restoring water, developing special feed. Most importantly, I spent my own money to build an oxygenated cold chain station for the village. Crayfish like these, once they leave the water, have a very high fatal rate. But with my cold chain transport, Baishui Village's shrimp reach top restaurants in first-tier cities with a 98% survival rate. That is why we can sell them for such a high price. I'm just glad everyone's happy. This is just the first batch. Once the next batch is ready, profits can increase by another 10%. However, we need to expand the cold chain base, so work hard for a couple of days. Suddenly, my childhood friend, Zhao Qiang, slammed a ledger onto the dinner table.
Chen Mo, before you say all that, shouldn't we check the books properly?
The noisy courtyard went silent instantly as everyone's gaze focused on me. Are you drunk, Qiangzi? The accountant verified the records yesterday.
What we checked yesterday was the fake record you showed us. Chen Mo, do you really think the whole village is stupid? The skills you learned in the city, did you bring them back to the village just to bleed your own people dry?
At those words, the crowd broke into an uproar. I stood up abruptly. Qiangzi, what nonsense are you talking?
Nonsense?
Zhao Qiang flipped the ledger open and held it up in the air.
Look at this, everyone. I had a friend in the city check the actual shipping slips. Chen Mo reported cold chain fees to us of $1,500 per ton, but in reality, his trucks and refrigeration, including tolls, cost $600 at most.
Gasping sounds erupted from the crowd. Zhao Qiang grew more agitated.
And that special feed he forced us to buy at $30 per pound. I had someone look. The ingredients inside are identical to the normal stuff at $8 per pound at the town store. In 1 year, Chen Mo pocketed at least $5 million in kickbacks.
5 million?
Oh my god, I wondered why he was so kind, coming back to help us get rich. Turns out the lion's share went straight into his pocket.
So cold-hearted, even scamming his own family.
In an instant, the villagers who were grateful just now totally changed. Their fanaticism turned to doubt and anger, even blatant resentment. I stared at that riddle-ridden ledger, and an absurd feeling rose in my heart. Normal feed? The feed I mixed contained trace minerals for water quality and antibodies to prevent gill disease. Can those even be seen by eye? Cold chain cost $600. He didn't factor in nitrogen loss, oxygen pump depreciation, and station maintenance, just calculating fuel and toll fees. Zhao Qiang, have you lost your mind? The core of cold chain is oxygen and temperature control. You only counted gas and feed. Village Chief Lu Guangsheng suddenly stepped forward, his fat face that was just all smiles, now filled with cold contempt.
Stop using fancy professional terms. Chen Mo. Qiangzi slammed the evidence in my face. Since you're one of us, we don't want to call 911 yet. Hand over the cooperative's official seal now, and the keys to the cold chain base. Starting today, the crayfish here aren't your concern anymore.
Looking at Lu Guangsheng's arrogant expression and Zhao Qiang's poorly hidden greed, I understood everything. They didn't really think I stole money. They just think the model is proven now. Money has been made, and I have no use anymore. Director Liu, are you sure you want to do this? I laughed in pure anger. The cold chain equipment was bought with my own funds, and the technology is all in my head. If you kick me out, aren't you afraid this all collapses?
Who are you scaring?
Zhao Qiang grabbed a stool and smashed it down.
Anyone can feed shrimp. Isn't it just sprinkling feed? Cold chain is just some big freezers. Without a leech like you, we'll make even more.
Exactly. Get out of Baishui village. Give back the money you scammed from us.
Emotions were high. Several strong young men even closed in on me, holding bottles and shovels. I looked at this group I'd nurtured with my heart and soul for months, and the last trace of local loyalty was completely burned to ashes. I stood up, heartbroken. Director Liu, Zhao Qiang is an idiot. I don't blame him. But you're an old fox. Just the two of you. Wouldn't dare to so blatantly swallow my business. Tell me. I stared straight into his eyes. Who's backing you from behind? Who makes you think without me, Chen Mo, your shrimp will even sell? Lu Guangsheng's face flickered for a second, but he then gave a cold sneer.
Chen Mo, you're smart, but you're in the way of people's money. They said, as long as we kick you out, shipping will be free, and they'll buy at 20% more than your price.
My eyes narrowed. No shipping fees. Buying at a premium. In this industry, only big shots offering conditions against logic, ruthlessly chasing monopoly power, would do this. This wasn't just a simple betrayal by villagers. This was a planned corporate hit. I didn't stay a second longer and walked right out of the courtyard. Behind me, someone lit a string of prepared firecrackers. Cheers were deafening. Crackling sound pierced through the hot summer night, feeling extra sharp. They celebrated as if they had overthrown an oppressor, and as if welcoming imminent and vast wealth. I returned to the rented brick room at the village office and packed my things. As soon as I pushed the door open, Zhao Qiang squeezed in with a group of burly young villagers, crowding the space, staring at me like I was some thief.
Chen Mo, let's be clear from the start. This is public property. You aren't taking a single screw from here.
Zhao Qiang was weighing a solid wooden club in his hand, his eyes filled with the arrogance of a petty man.
All of this belongs to the collective property of Baishui village.
I gave him a cold glance but said nothing. I unzipped my bag, packed only a few clothes, and then unplugged that black laptop's power cord and stuffed it into the bag. That was my work laptop. The core temperature control algorithm of Baishui village's cold chain, along with the precise mineral ratios for the feed, were all stored right here on this drive. This was the heart of the operation. The hardware outside the refrigerators, the oxygen pumps. I did buy them with my $2 million in savings. Since we've already fallen out, I won't bother arguing or suing illiterate fools. The hardware they've taken is just an empty shell. Without my real-time parameters, that sophisticated equipment won't last 2 weeks before turning into a pile of scrap metal. I threw on my bag and walked out the door. As I reached the banyan tree at the village entrance, a Mercedes-Benz S-Class up silently. The door opened, and a well-dressed middle-aged man with slick-back hair stepped out. Village director and Lu Guangsheng immediately rushed over with fawning smiles.
So President Wang, why did you come personally? The shrimp are all packed and ready to be loaded.
I stopped walking and narrowed my eyes. Wang Kai, a heavy hitter from Lin's Aquatic Products, and Xu Haicheng's top right-hand man. Xu Haicheng has been aggressively expanding his fresh produce empire lately, the high survival cold chain supply route I built. So, this is why Lu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang were bold enough to kick me out. Wang Kai patted Lu Guangsheng on the shoulder, but his gaze bypassed him and landed directly on me. A smug, mocking grin crept onto his face as he walked toward me.
I've heard a lot about you, President Chen. To be honest, the cold chain base you designed is truly impressive. President Xu asked me to thank you for spending $2 million to do the toughest infrastructure work for us.
He emphasized $2 million with a heavy emphasis, his eyes mocking me. No need for thanks. Hardware is easy to steal, but core tech isn't so easy to digest. The hottest season starts next month. I hope your people know how to handle skyrocketing ammonia levels and chain reactions from sudden temp shifts under 38-degree heat. Wang Kai gave a dismissive scoff.
President Chen, after all this, give up the scare tactics. It's just refrigeration and oxygen, right? I have hundreds of technicians in the group. Do you think we can't handle a few freezers? You should worry about yourself. I heard you're leaving with nothing. Do you even have a place to sleep tonight?
You needn't worry about that, Sir President Wang. Ignoring his provocation, I left without looking back. Halfway down the road, I faintly heard Lu Guangsheng's voice from behind me.
So President Wang, about that deal to waive logistics fees and pay us 20% more.
Don't worry, Lao Liu. I brought the contracts with me. But let's be clear up front. If the group offers such generous terms, you must guarantee the quality. There's an additional clause. If the loss rate exceeds 5%, or if 6 shrimp appear, not only will you return the full payment, but you'll also pay the group 10 times that in damages. Is that a problem?
No problem at all. Not a single problem. This equipment is fantastic. How could the shrimp possibly die? Jiangzi, sign it now.
Lu Guangsheng was blinded by the massive profits and agreed without a second thought. I sneered in the shadows, 10 times the penalty for breach of contract. Xu Haicheng is truly calculating. He's not here for charity. He's planning to take Baishui village after squeezing out every drop of profit. With a single contract penalty, he'll seize all of Baishui village's land and ponds perfectly legally. Oh, Lu Guangsheng, you think you've aligned with big capital, You don't realize you've already bitten the bloody poison bait. 3 hours later, drenched in sweat, I 15 kilometers away from Baishui village at Dahuang village. This place is different from the lush Baishui village. It's covered in white saline alkali land. Crops can't survive, and even the grass is sparse. The young and strong have all fled, leaving behind only dozens of elderly and sick in absolute poverty. Walked to the village entrance, before that ruined brick kiln. Dahuang village's old village chief Li Jiangguo was crouching on the ground, smoking his pipe, sighing as he smoked. I walked up and called out, "Uncle Li." Li Jiangguo looked up, his cloudy eyes staring at me for a long time before he recognized me.
Oh, isn't this the Chen boy from Baishui village? In the middle of the night. What are you doing out here in the middle of nowhere?
I put down my bag and sat on the stone directly opposite him. Want to turn these thousands of acres of wasteland into a gold mine?
Li Jiangguo gave a bitter laugh. Xiao Chen, stop joking with an old man like me. This land is so salty, it's bitter. Not even animals come here. What gold could it possibly grow?
Ordinary shrimp can't survive here. I know that. But for the past 6 months in the lab, I've developed a microecological water algorithm specifically for high alkaline water. Shrimp raised in this water won't just survive because of the high osmotic pressure, their meat will be incredibly firm, with snow-white bellies and zero muddy taste. I call them crystal shrimp. I'm already over those low-end mud shrimp from Baishui village. Right here, I want to build a fresh supply base to supply Michelin star restaurants and luxury hotels in top-tier cities. I'm going to sell these at $200 a pound. The hand holding Li Jiangguo's pipe suddenly trembled, dropping ash onto his shoe, but he didn't notice, only staring at me in shock. At that moment, 15 kilometers away at Baishui village, Zhao Qiang stood excitedly at the cold chain station console, casually hitting the main power button. The screen flashed red, displaying a yellow warning. Abnormal ambient temperature detected. Please recalibrate parameters. Forget calibration. What a piece of junk. So annoying, Zhao Qiang cursed, hitting force bypass and max cooling. With a low rumble from the compressor, the machine started up anyway. The countdown for the ruin of Baishui village has officially begun. Meanwhile, Li Jiangguo stared at me blankly.
$200 a pound? Xiao Chen, have you lost your mind? Crayfish on the market. Only go for $20 or $30 at most. Do you think our saltwater here in Dahuang village is the jade pool from Queen Mother of the West?
Uncle Li, those are just ordinary mud-grown shrimp. This saline alkali water has high salt and pH levels. In this extreme environment, to survive, the crayfish's osmotic pressure will change. Do you know what that does? I paused, staring at him intensely. First, the shells become incredibly hard and glossy. Second, the meat will be incredibly firm and springy. Third, the alkaline environment is naturally sterile, so the gills will be snow-white, with no earthy taste at all. If we use waterproof membranes and my microecological algorithms to break down the toxins, the shrimp raised here will be luxury goods on the market. Li Jiangguo was dazed by what he heard. He didn't understand osmotic pressure. He understood the word luxury, but the light that flickered in the old man's eyes quickly faded.
Xiao Chen, to be honest, the village's account doesn't even have $2,000. These membranes and circulating pumps you mentioned, how are we going to build them?
I'll pay for it. I reached into my inner pocket and pulled out a bank card. In the capital, I have an 80 square meter apartment. I mortgaged it yesterday. Combined with my remaining savings, it's a total of $3 million. All this money will go toward the infrastructure for Dahuang village. I looked at Li Jiangguo, whose lips were trembling in shock, yet my voice remained calm, as if I weren't betting my entire fortune, but just the cost of a meal. Uncle Li, I'll provide technology and all the funds. You provide these 5,000 acres of useless salt marsh, plus the labor of the entire village. I take 70% of the profit. The village takes 30%. Do you dare to gamble with me? If we win, everyone in Dahuang village will build small villas. If we lose, I, Chen Mo, am ruined, while you've only wasted some effort, and you'll still have your land. The night wind blew through the derelict kiln, and the silence was deafening. Li Jiangguo stared intensely at the bank card, then looked into my bloodshot, wolf-like eyes. Finally, the old man stood up abruptly.
Let's do it. Dahuang village is so poor even ghosts won't visit. What's there to fear? I'll strike the gongs tomorrow and call every person in the village to dig the ponds and lay the lining for you.
Over the next month, I rooted myself completely in Dahuang village, under a scorching sun of nearly 40 degrees, standing on the white, glaring salt marshes. The villagers of Dahuang village showed me what hard work really looks like. No excavators, used shovels and pickaxes out of the hardened salt flats to carve out one standardized step pond after another. I personally supervised the laying of every waterproof membrane, burying pipes like capillaries under the ground, connecting them to the micro-ecological control center that I welded by hand. While we were rolling in mud, prizing through construction, Baishui village, only 15 kilometers away, was lost in a frenzy of wealth. The first batch of 10 tons of crayfish was being sent out in a massive convoy to the capital. Xu Haicheng's group is indeed wealthy, not only waiving all logistics fees, but also paying based on a price 20% higher than market value, settling the payment on the spot. A full $600,000 in cash, stacked in bundles on the table of the Baishui Village Committee. Zhao Qiang held a handful of $100 bills, arrogantly waving them before the villagers.
See this? See this? I told you Chen Mo is a fraud. As long as the machines are at max, the shrimp will still be lively. We buy cheap feed ourselves, and they still grow fat. The previous millions of dollars were all pocketed by that Chen scoundrel.
The villagers burst into deafening cheers, their eyes gleaming with a red light of greed.
Fellow villagers, since Boss Shu is buying unlimitedly, what are we waiting for? Use all the remaining ditches and muddy ponds in the village. Increase the number of seedlings. Buy the cheapest feed in town, and feed them like crazy. Next month, we'll double our profits.
All of Baishui village went mad. To chase production, they took the density from 800 pounds per acre to a terrifying 3,000 pounds. To save money, they stopped using the trace element and antibiotic specialty feed I had mixed, and replaced it all with grade feed costing pennies a pound. Not only that, Zhao Qiang thought the flow was too slow, and just removed the water filter of the cold chain station. They only see the easy money, but they have no idea the sword over their heads is about to fall. On August 5th, during the midsummer heat, I stood on the new Dahuang village control tower, looking down at the ponds that looked like sapphire clear water. Dense groups of crystal shrimp swam happily below. Under the sunlight, their shells had a glass-like, translucent glow. Eco-circulation system hummed deeply, breaking down toxins with precision, converting them into minerals for the shrimp. Everything followed my algorithm quickly. Then Li Jiangguo climbed up the tower, his old face beaming with joy.
Xiao Chen, you're amazing. These shrimp look beautiful. They're huge, and their claws look powerful. In another week, our first batch will be ready, right?
I wiped my sweat, glancing toward Baishui village Uncle Li. No rush. The real show is just beginning. The forecast says that tomorrow, it'll top 42 degrees, for at least a week. Uncle Li, do you know what black gill disease is? Li Jiangguo paused in surprise.
What disease?
Under high heat, high ammonia, and fresh water, it is a lethal infection targeting crawfish. Once it breaks out, within 3 days, the crawfish in the pond turn black at the gills, rot, and eventually fill the entire pool floating belly up. Those people from Baishui village treat refrigerators as a miracle cure. Tomorrow, Xu Haicheng's second payment will become their fatal curse. Over the next 3 days of intense heat, all of Baishui village turned into a massive outdoor sauna. A single breeze in the air, only suffocating humidity, a pungent stench, rotten eggs, mixed with the smell of dead fish. At high noon, Zhao Qiang scrambled and rushed into the committee office, shouting with a pale face.
Uncle Guangsheng, something happened. Something terrible happened. The crawfish, every one of them in the pond, is floating up.
Resting on the rattan chair with the AC, Liu Guangsheng was dreaming of wealth, then woke up with a start.
What are you howling for? It's normal for them to surface when it's hot. Just turn on the aerators.
They are on. We turned them to the max, but it's useless. Come see for yourself. They aren't just surfacing, they're turning belly up. And those crawfish, their gills are all pitch black.
Liu Guangsheng felt a sharp buzz in the head, and without putting shoes on properly, began to run outside with 1 foot bare. By the time they reached the village's largest breeding pond, the scene before them made Liu Guangsheng go weak at the knees, collapsing into the water. The pond, once crystal clear, had now become a thick pot of dark green poison. The heat had completely ignited the poor quality feed residue at the bottom, causing the ammonia and nitrogen levels to skyrocket. On the surface, a layer of dead shrimp floated densely, emitting a sickening stench. And beneath the surface, countless crawfish were barely clinging to life, frantically crawling onto the shore. Picking up any one at random, one could see their once clean, white gills had turned into a rotting, charred black. Black gill disease. In this extreme environment, it acted like a plague, spreading through the dense crowd, completely erupting. Liu Guangsheng was trembling all over, lips turning blue.
How could this happen? How did it come to this? When Chen Mo was around, this never happened.
Uncle, why mention that curse now? It must be because of this weather. What do we do now? Tonight, Wang Kai is coming for the second shipment, a full 20 tons. If we can't deliver, under the contract, we'll have to pay Xu Haicheng 10 times the penalty. That's several $1 million. Even if we mortgaged every house in town, it still wouldn't be enough.
Hearing about the 10 times penalty, Liu Guangsheng felt a chill down his spine, instantly snapping out of his initial shock. In its place was a desperate, outlaw-like madness.
I won't pay. I'll pay with my life first.
Liu Guangsheng grabbed Zhao Qiang by the collar, his bloodshot eyes staring him down.
Listen, while most of the shrimp are still alive, gather everyone to start harvest now. Throw away the gone ones, as long as they're alive. Forget about the disease. Pack them all into the cold storage.
Zhao Qiang was stunned.
But uncle, those sick shrimp, Wang Kai's people will see it instantly. They won't even last the trip to the city.
Liu Guangsheng slapped the back of Zhao Qiang's head, hissing through grit teeth.
Are you stupid? Isn't Chen Mo's cold chain gear high-tech? Turn the temperature to the lowest and flash freeze them. Once they're frozen solid, the black spots won't be noticeable. Once they reach the city warehouse and pass the inspection, even if they're ruined after thawing or found to be diseased, that's on the shipping and their poor handling. What does that have to do with Baishui village?
Zhao Qiang gasped in horror. This move was simply playing Shu Haicheng for a fool. But facing total ruin, they had no other choice. A ruthless look flashed in Zhao Qiang's eyes.
I'll do it. I'll turn the freezer to max and give them a quick freeze.
He then sprinted toward the storage unit. A frantic act of self-preservation is playing out at Baishui village. Everyone in the village, under the scorching sun, is acting like a lunatic, scooping through stinking mud pits to salvage those dying shrimp, shoving them all at once into the cold chain truck that Zhao Qiang forced into a deep freeze mode. They have no idea that Chen Mo's cold chain algorithm is about oxygen and temperature control, keeping the shrimp dormant, rather than just brutally freezing them. Without the algorithm's protection, the extreme cold, combined with the already fragile organs of the diseased shrimp, will only speed up their ruin and decay. Meanwhile, 15 kilometers away at Dahuang village, I'm sitting in the shade, enjoying a chilled plum juice. On the microecology control panel, despite the 42-degree heat, the data remains rock solid. The high alkalinity of the water acts as a powerful disinfectant. The bacteria trying to grow never get the chance to breed before the circulation system wipes them out. Below the surface, those hard-shelled, crystal-clear shrimp are full of life, feeding over the high-grade feed I prepared. Li Jiao wipes away sweat, still feeling a bit uneasy.
Xiao Chen, this heat is insane. I heard the water in Baishui village already stinks. Are we really going to be okay?
I give a cold laugh and tell the villagers to sleep early tonight. Save your energy, because tomorrow the real show begins. At 10 o'clock that night, Wang Kai brought 5 heavy refrigerated trucks and parked them at the entrance of Baishui village. Liu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang, with flattering smiles on their faces, went to greet them.
President Wang, 20 tons of cargo are in the base station, guaranteed fresh.
Wang Kai didn't even get out of the car, simply waving a hand. Load them up. Since the refrigerated interior was set to negative 10 degrees by Zhao Qiang, making it as cold as an ice cellar, Wang Kai's men just opened the door and checked the top few baskets. On the surface, the shrimp were indeed frozen solid, showing nothing out of the ordinary.
President Wang, it's all good.
Wang Kai's window rolled up slowly. Let's go, back to the capital. Watching the 5 trucks vanish into the night, Liu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang's legs gave out, and they collapsed onto the ground, their clothes soaked in cold sweat.
We pulled it off. Uncle, we survived it.
But the smiles on their faces lasted less than 6 hours. At 4 in the morning, at the capital's Shuhaicheng Group Distribution Center, Wang Kai was directing the workers to open the back doors. The moment the doors were pulled open, a powerful stench exploded and hit them full force. The 2 workers at the very front were hit by the toxic fumes, their eyes rolling back as they gagged, collapsing to the floor. The smile on Wang Kai's face instantly froze. Covering his nose and mouth, he suppressed his nausea and rushed to the truck. There were 20 tons of what was touted as premium crawfish. After leaving the deep freeze for just 10 minutes, they had turned into a mess of rotting meat and black liquid. Every single crawfish's gills turned a sickening jet black color. How was this high-end food? It was nothing but 5 trucks of high-grade bio-waste. Just then, Wang Kai's phone began to vibrate like a death toll, showing a call from Shu Haicheng. Wang Kai pressed answer with a shaking hand. From the other side came Shu Haicheng's bone-chilling voice.
Wang Kai, if anything is wrong with this shipment, you might as well throw yourself in the ocean. I just heard that. The Provincial Health Bureau and Market Regulation staff have already arrived at our distribution center's gate.
Wang Kai's pupils dilated, cold sweat pouring down like a waterfall. He snapped his head toward Baishui village's direction, his eyes bursting with enough rage to rip someone apart. 6 in the morning, while the villagers of Baishui village were still dreaming of wealth, the iron gates of the village committee were suddenly slammed open with a bang. A black SUV charged in like a wild beast, the screeching brakes shattering the village's morning silence. Liu Guangsheng scrambled out while putting on clothes, and rushed out the door, as Zhao Qiang rubbed their sleepy eyes. When they saw who was standing in the yard, the hope they felt last night vanished. Wang Kai's eyes were bloodshot, his jacket was gone, and his tie was messy. Like a desperate, hungry wolf, he glared at them.
President Wang, why are you here so early? Didn't the goods just leave last night?
Wang Kai didn't say a word, just waved his hand, and the men behind him, carrying 2 large plastic bins, walked up to Liu Guangsheng and dumped them on the ground. Hundreds of rotten, stinking shrimp with black gills fell at the feet of Liu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang.
Liu Guangsheng, you've got some nerve. freezing diseased shrimp to scam Chairman Shu of his money. Do you have any idea that Health Bureau trucks are blocking the distribution center? Chairman Shu's 3 large supermarkets were all ordered to shut down today.
President Wang. It's a mistake. A huge mistake. They were alive when we loaded them.
Screw your mistake.
Wang Kai kicked Lu Guangsheng to the ground, pulled a thick stack of papers from his briefcase, and slammed them into Lu Guangsheng's face. Papers scattered everywhere, the bright red stamps stinging everyone's eye.
Stop putting on an act. 20 tons of goods, 40,000 pounds. We'll buy it at a premium of $30 per pound, bringing the total to $1,200,000.
Wang Kai looks down at them coldly, as the suit-clad lawyer by his side pushes up his glasses with a blank face and begins to read the contract terms.
According to the additional agreement signed, if diseased or bad shrimp exceeds the limit, it constitutes a serious commercial breach and fraudulent behavior. The full payment must be refunded, plus a penalty of 10 times that amount, totaling $12 million. Adding in reputational damages and administrative fines of $3 million, the total is $15 million.
Hearing this astronomical figure, the villagers who had gathered to watch collectively let out a sharp cry.
$15 million?
Zhao Qiang's eyes turn red with rage as he grabs a shovel.
Nonsense. Are you trying to rob us? You forced us to sign that contract. And the shrimp only spoiled because you didn't freeze them during transport. Why should we have to pay?
Wang Kai scoffs.
You ignorant fool.
The bodyguard behind him immediately steps forward, delivering a sharp leg sweep that sends the shovel flying from Zhao Qiang's hands, followed by a knee strike straight into Zhao Qiang's stomach. Zhao Qiang screams in pain, curling up on the ground like a cooked shrimp, curled up, gasping for air and spitting out bile.
Everyone, we have already applied to the court for asset preservation. From now on, all breeding ponds in Baishui Village, cold chain stations, and houses under your names are all officially frozen. If you don't hand over the $15 million, expect to serve time in prison and leave your entire village homeless on the streets.
Until this very moment, the people of Baishui Village finally felt the cold ruthlessness of capital. Shu Haicheng was setting a trap from the start. This wasn't a partnership, but a legal plunder. That cold chain equipment and the ponds were all part of their calculated scheme. And the ones pushing the village into the abyss were Lu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang, who drove away Chen Mo for profit. The villagers went mad. Too afraid to hit Wang Kai, they turned and lunged at Lu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang, punching and kicking, screaming for their houses and life savings back. The whole of Baishui Village turned into a living hell. Unlike the misery in Baishui Village, this was Dahuang Village's meant to shine. I stood by the new saline alkali ecosystem, watching the workers forming the first test catch. As the large net rose, the water's surface erupted in dazzling ripples. The net was packed, full of crystal shrimp nearly 20 centimeters long, their shells hard and clear, glistening in the sun like polished glass. Vibrant and full of life, jumped wildly in the net. Standing beside me was the top catering group's purchasing director of Dingshik Xuan, Zhou Hong. He's an old contact from my supply chain days, known for being sharp-eyed and demanding. Zhou Hong grabbed a shrimp, staring at its snowy white belly and clean gills, with raw excitement in his eyes.
Enmo, you are a total genius. Raising shrimp in saline alkali land and pushing the osmotic pressure to this extreme state is incredible. There's no earthy taste at all, and the meat is firmer than lobster.
President Zhou, don't just look, check the quality. Zhou Hong didn't even use equipment. He just had a few boiled plain. Without any dipping sauce, he peeled back the translucent shell and took a big bite. A crisp crunch sounded as the meat, firm and bouncy, burst with a hint of sweetness all over his mouth.
Pure perfection. Absolute perfection.
Zhou Hong's eyes lit up as he grabbed my hand tight.
Same as always? I'll take your entire stock. Name your price.
I calmly wiped my hands and held up 2 fingers. Like I said before, this isn't for street food stalls. It's for high-end luxury. $200 a pound. And you handle the shipping costs. My cold chain process only covers packaging for dormancy, ensuring none are lost.
200?
Zhou Hong gasped. This price is 10 times more expensive than market price, but he only hesitated for 3 seconds.
Deal. How many for the first batch? I want 10 tons. Prepaid in full.
Zhou Hong said decisively. For a man like him, running high-end restaurants, unique ingredients are a priceless competitive edge. As the old village chief and Li Jianguo listened nearby, their legs went weak, nearly giving them a heart attack. $200 a pound, at 10 tons, that makes $4 million. And this was only Dahuang Village's very first trial yield. This cursed saline land in Dahuang Village really produced a miracle. But just as we prepared to sign the contract, at the entrance of Dahuang Village, stumbling forward, came a few people covered in filthy, foul-smelling mud. Leading them was a bruised, haggard Liu Guangsheng, who looked 10 years older, along with Zhao Qiang, who had a tooth knocked out by villagers. With a heavy thud, they knelt by the membrane of the saline field.
Chen Mo, President Chen, help us. Please save Bai Shui Village.
I looked at them, crawling on the ground like dogs, with no pity in my eyes, only bone-chilling coldness. The game is finally at my favorite part. As Liu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang knelt in the mud, they scrambled toward my feet.
Brother Mo, Master Mo, Shu Haicheng screwed us over. $15 million. The whole village couldn't pay that even by selling their souls. Please, since we grew up in the same village, give us a hand.
Guangsheng was moved to tears, slapping his own face hard, each slap echoing loudly.
Xiao Chen, Uncle was blinded by greed. We were short-sighted. You're most familiar with that cold chain equipment. Please tell Boss Shu that the shrimp died because the machines broke, and it's not our fault, okay? If you just testify for us, the equipment in the village, and hundreds of acres of ponds will all be returned to you.
I looked down at these two men who looked like stray dogs, feeling no anger in my heart, only the sorrow of watching a pair of clowns. Return them to me? Director Liu, did you forget? That cold chain station cost me $2 million to build. You snatched it away, ruined it, and now you're using my own things to negotiate with me? I stepped aside, revealing the recently caught 10 tons of crystal shrimp. Under the sun, the massive, translucent crystal shrimp were jumping wildly in the nets, bursting with life. Liu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang stared at the shrimp, their eyes nearly popping out. They had raised mud shrimp all their lives. They had never seen premium quality as stunning as this. Let me introduce you. This is the purchasing director of Ding Shixuan, President Zhou. As for these shrimp, President Zhou bought them all. Guess how much they are per pound? Liu Guangsheng swallowed his bloody saliva and tentatively gestured a number.
$50?
Zhou Hong scoffed from the side and shook his head.
With Brother Chen's skill, $50 won't even buy a shell. $200 a pound, payment first, then delivery. For these 10 tons, $4 million in cash has already been wired to Dahuang Village's account.
200?
Hearing that number, Liu Guangsheng felt like being struck by lightning, slumping down into the mud, eyes hollow, trembling all over. Zhao Qiang let out a scream like a wild animal, clutching their hair tightly, digging nails deep into the scalp. Regretting it now, I crouched down, looking Liu Guangsheng straight in the regret-filled eyes, tearing away their last shred of dignity word by word. You really thought the $30 per pound feed I mixed was for getting kickbacks? That was high-purity antibacterial enzyme, meant to suppress toxic ammonia levels in dense farming. Replacing it with cheap feed is essentially poisoning the water. And you thought the cold chain was just a big freezer? Those are life stasis chambers, using algorithms to manage oxygen and temperature levels. By removing the filters and freezing the water to keep sick shrimp chilled, you only sped up their rot. My voice wasn't loud, but it was like a hammer shattering their resolve. Your smart substitutions and penny pinching pressed the button that destroyed the entire village. Shu Haicheng dug the pit well, but if you weren't so greedy and hadn't jumped in yourselves, he couldn't have touched you.
Xiao Chen, President Chen, we were wrong. We've truly realized our mistake. You're making so much money now. $4 million is nothing to you. Can you lend us $15 million? Consider it a loan to Baishui Village. We'll be your devoted servants forever.
I kicked him away without mercy. Liu Guangsheng, you think too highly of yourself. Do your services warrant $15 million? Want me to save you? Maybe in your next life. Go tell the people at Baishui Village. Be ready for the court to seal everything up. When you face bankruptcy and the assets go to auction, I will buy Baishui Villages, cold chain stations and ponds back legally at the lowest possible price. As for your debts owed to Shu Haicheng, you're welcome to come to my factory and apply for manual labor to pay it back slowly for the rest of your lives. With that, I didn't give those two another look and headed for the control tower. From the mud behind me, I heard Zhao Qiang retching in despair and Liu Guangsheng wailing in agony. That night, at the provincial Shu Haicheng Group headquarters, a lean man with sharp, eagle-like eyes sat in a luxury boss's chair. He is the seafood mogul who monopolizes 70% of the provincial market, Shu Haicheng. Wang Kai bowed his head, standing before the desk, trembling with fear, hardly daring to breathe.
So you're saying Ding Shixuan's Zhou Hong rejected the high-priced Australian lobsters that we were promoting and instead went to a saline alkali land called Dahuang Village and brought 10 tons of some unknown crayfish?
Yes, that's right, Chairman.
Wang Kai wiped the cold sweat from his forehead.
I checked into it. The expert behind Dahuang Village is Chen Mo, the one kicked out by Baishui Village. He raised something called crystal shrimp, and it's selling for a sky-high price of $200 a pound.
Shu Haicheng paused his movements as the red wine in his glass rippled.
$200 a pound? And it can be raised in saline alkali land?
Shu Hai-chung narrowed his eyes. His sharp business instinct instantly made him realize the terrifying potential behind this.
Interesting. Enforce the seizure of Baishui Village's assets immediately. Ruination for them. And then, go check on Chenmo's cold chain transport routes. Since this boy wants to play a high-stakes game, I'll teach him. Exactly who sets the rules in this territory.
Shu Hai-cheng slammed his wine glass onto the table. The glass shattered, splattering scarlet liquid everywhere. When Shu Hai-chung wants to finish someone within this provincial capital, it usually only takes a single word. 3 days is the day Dahuang Village delivers to Dingshixuan 10 tons of crystal shrimp. On the main road to the city, 3 black Land Rovers are parked. Wang Kai leans against a car door, weighing a baseball bat in his hand, staring with sinister eyes at the distant horizon. A dozen burly men are scattered around, blocking the intersection completely. A henchman approaches.
President Wang, President Xu said, not a single shrimp from Dahuang Village is allowed in the city today.
Wang Kai takes a cigarette with a cold sneer.
Naturally. Trying to run produce in our territory and bypass Chairman Shu's slice of the pie? So Chenmo knows farming. Does he think he's God now? Today, I'll teach him how dangerous the logistics game is.
Just then, dust kicks up on the road ahead. 3 refrigerated trucks marked with Dahuang Village Ecological Agriculture approach at a steady pace.
Here they come. Block them.
On Wang Kai's order, the SUVs suddenly cut them off amidst the screech of brakes, forcing the 3 refrigerated trucks to a dead stop in the road. The truck driver, a villager from Dahuang Village in his 50s, turns pale with fear, locking the doors and refusing to get out. Wang Kai gripped a baseball bat, strutting over arrogantly, and smashed it against the windshield with a loud bang. Spiderweb-like cracks exploded instantly.
Get out now. Routine inspection. I suspect you're carrying infected shrimp in this truck.
The driver was dragged down, trembling. Wang Kai didn't even give him a glance, walking straight to the back of the truck and giving a wave.
Pry the door open. President Shu said if there are shrimp inside, trash the whole truck and the goods. Charge it to Baishui Village's debt.
Several thugs immediately stepped forward with crowbars. Creak! After the sound of grinding metal, the heavy doors of the refrigerated truck were forced open, and a blast of cold air hit their faces. The trailer was neatly stacked with over 100 blue transport barrels.
$200 a pound, huh? Today, it all turns to worthless mud.
Wang Kai's eyes flashed with cruel delight. He jumped into the truck, swung the baseball bat, aimed at the first blue barrel, and smashed it down hard. The plastic barrel shattered, and the liquid inside cascaded out like a waterfall, drenching Wang Kai. No shrimp, not even a single piece. Spreading all over the floor was only yellowish brown, bitter, and salty muddy water. Wang Kai froze. He wiped the mud from his face, rushed like a madman to the other buckets, and smashed over a dozen of them open. But they were all filled with muddy salt water. Wang Kai grabbed hold of the trembling driver,
eyes blazing with rage.
Where's the cargo?
Where are Dahuang Village's shrimp? Where did Chenmo hide them?
The driver stammered out.
President Chen said, to take this wastewater today to the city chemical plant for treatment. He didn't mention anything about shrimp.
Just as Wang Kai felt a chill, realizing he had been played, the phone in his pocket rang. It was Shu Hai-cheng calling. As soon as it connected, Shu Hai-cheng erupted with a murderous roar, nearly shattering Wang Kai's eardrum.
Wang Kai, are you blind? 10 tons of Chenmo's shrimp were delivered 30 minutes ago, alive and well, into the kitchen of Ding Shixuan. That old fox, Zhou Hong, is preparing a tasting event right now, and the entire high-end circle of the province is buzzing about it. What on earth were your people doing?
Wang Kai felt as if struck by lightning.
That's impossible. We have lookouts for every cold chain truck and highway exit in the whole province. Even if he had wings, he couldn't have flown past us.
He didn't need wings. He used the high-speed rail freight express.
Shu Hai-cheng smashed something on the other end of the line and screamed in rage. High-speed rail fresh express. Those words hit Wang Kai like a heavy sledgehammer. At this moment, the capital's South Freight platform, dressed in a simple white shirt, I watched the workers unload the last batch of crystal shrimp in aero cases from the cargo carriage and hand them over to Ding Shixuan's cold chain truck. Zhou Hong stood by my side, staring at the premium shrimp thrashing in the transparent tanks, his face glowing with excitement.
My friend, that was a brilliant masterstroke. That old man, Shu Hai-cheng, thought controlling the roads and depots would crush you, but he never imagined you could secure the railway's express fresh line.
Zhou Hong gave me a thumbs up. I brushed the dust off my sleeve with a calm tone. Shu Hai-cheng is just a local bully. His vision stuck on petty roadblocks and amateur thug tactics. He has no clue about modern logistics networks. When I was a supply chain architect for an e-commerce giant, what I helped build was a nationwide network of air and rail cold chains. With high enough profit margins, $200 per pound shrimp can easily cover the freight cost. I can mobilize top-tier logistics resources anytime. Shu Hai-cheng thinks his rusty vans and a few thugs can stop a national transport force. It's pure delusion. President Zhou, the goods have been safely delivered. As for the marketing hype, that's up to Ding Shixuan now.
Don't worry. After tonight, all high-end diners in the province will know that besides lobster and king crab, there's another luxury ingredient called Dahuang Village Crystal Shrimp. Those luxury seafood quotas, held by Shu Haicheng, will start shrinking soon.
I nod, ready to leave, when my phone suddenly vibrates. It's an automated notification of a public auction from the court. Due to the failure to pay Shu Haicheng Group's $15 million penalty, all of Baishui Village's collective assets, including the cold chain station that I personally funded and 800 acres of pond rights, have officially entered foreclosure. The starting price is $2 million, exactly the amount I initially advanced. Looking at the screen, a cold smirk forms on my face. Shu Haicheng tried to take over Baishui Village to cut off my retreat. It's my turn to buy you out. I dial Li Jianguo's number. Uncle Li, do we have the funds ready? Dress properly tomorrow. You're coming to the city court with me. We are going to buy Baishui Village legally.
Understood. Zhao Chen, I'll do whatever you say.
Hanging up, I look up at the gray city sky, my gaze sharp as a blade. The meat grinder of war has just started. Shu Haicheng, this is only a warm-up. In City Auction Hall number 3, the air conditioning is blasting, but sitting in the back row, Liu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang are covered in sweat, shaking like leaves in the wind. Just a few short days, the two men who used to lord it over Baishui Village have gray hair and hollow eyes, looking like the Walking Dead. All of their hopes are pinned on today's asset auction. If Baishui Village's 800-acre ponds and the cold chain station sell for a high price, like $10 million, then the penalties they owe, Shu Haicheng, would be mostly paid off. As long as they aren't backed into a corner, scavenging for scraps for the rest of their lives would be better than seeing prison at any moment. Just then, the heavy auction doors swing open. Shu Haicheng enters, surrounded by guards and lawyers in suits, walking in like a king inspecting his domain. He glares coldly at the cowering Liu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang, looking at them as if they're bugs that he could crush at any time. As he prepares to sit in the front row VIP seat, his gaze suddenly freezes. In the seat right next to him, I'm already sitting tall and straight. Next to me is the anxious old village chief Dahuang Village, and Li Jianguo Shu Haicheng stops in his tracks, looking down at me with a sneer of pure contempt.
So you are Chen Mo? By using some cheap tricks, getting onto the high-speed rail line, you think you're a big shot? Kid, the fresh produce industry is not for someone who just made $4 million.
I didn't even stand up. I just tilted my head slightly, with a faint smile, staring at this seafood mogul who monopolizes 70% of the provincial market. Chairman Shu is right. The water is deep, which makes it easy to drown those arrogant elephants. Chairman Shu is here today to close the net, taking the assets of Baishui Village at a low price, right?
So what if I am? Today's deal starts at $2 million, and I, Shu Haicheng, am taking it. Let's see who in this city dares to outbid me. That measly $4 million you have, better keep it safe. Don't end up losing even Dahuang Village's funeral savings.
We shall see. I calmly looked away, no longer acknowledging him.
Currently for auction under the name of Baishui Village are 800 acres of pond rights and a cold chain station spanning 2,000 square meters. Due to the assets being frozen for debt, a court-ordered sale is now underway. Starting bid is $2 million, increments of at least 100,000.
The auctioneer's crisp voice echoed through the hall. In the back, Liu Guangsheng gripped the chair in front of him tightly, nearly breaking his nails, muttering neurotically,
Go higher. Please go higher.
Wang Kai sat next to Shu Haicheng, without even raising his sign. He just lazily called out the base price, $2 million. The room fell dead silent. Those businessmen who were just there for the show, seeing it was Shu Haicheng's person bidding, all looked away and avoided eye contact, cowardly staying silent. Who would risk offending a provincial big shot over a broken-down village? The auctioneer began the countdown.
2 million once.
Liu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang felt their hearts sink to the bottom, letting out a desperate sob. 2 million meant they'd still be burdened by 13 million in massive debt, never to recover. Just then, a calm and steady voice rang out from the front row. 2,100,000. The entire audience instantly focused their eyes on me. I slowly lowered my numbered sign, completely expressionless. Shu Haicheng's brow furrowed tightly, turning to glare at me, and Wang Kai snapped like a startled cat, pointing at me and cursing.
Chen, are you causing trouble on purpose? How dare someone like you challenge President Shu?
Auctions are won by the highest bidder. President Wang, you're disrespecting the rules of the court. Shu Haicheng snorted coldly, gesturing to Wang Kai, intending to crush me with money. Wang Kai increased the bid directly.
$3 million.
$3,100,000.
$4 million.
$4,100,000. As the price kept soaring, Lu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang in the back row had their eyes lit up with wild hope again. Yes, just like that. Corner him. Hit $10 million if possible. Wang Kai shouted $4,900,000 in frustration. The cards in my hand were actually not enough. Xu Haicheng saw through my bluff. A cold laugh, raised his paddle himself.
$5 million. Chen Mo. Don't you want to protect the cold chain you built yourself? Go ahead, keep bidding. I'll crush you with money today.
I slowly turned my head, looked at the arrogant Xu Haicheng, and suddenly smiled. I put down my number paddle, back in my chair, and said in a quiet voice that was heard clearly throughout the hall, Chairman Xu is truly generous. Before you pay, I have a friendly reminder. Did your legal team see the internal notice from the EPA this morning? Xu Haicheng froze. His lead lawyer's face went pale, and he quickly checked his phone, refreshing madly. Wang Kai shouted harshly,
Chen Mo, quit these mind games.
To increase output, Baishui Village illegally used low-grade chemical waste as feed. Coupled with the massive outbreak of gill disease, last night, the EPA's overnight report came out. The sediment in those 800 acres of ponds has severe heavy metal levels, officially classified as heavily polluted. The water source, my words were like a bombshell, exploding throughout the hall. I watched Xu Haicheng's face turn grim. Under the new environmental laws, 800 acres of ponds must undergo mandatory restoration. Until that is done, no farming activities are allowed. The cost to clean up the sediment is estimated between $8 to $10 million, and this expense is fully paid by the current owner. My smile grew colder, meaning that Chairman Xu just spent $5 million, not on a gold mine, but on a toxic pit that will cost $10 million to fix. Congratulations, Chairman Xu.
Bull!
His lawyer, covered in sweat, thrust a phone in front of him. Displayed on it was the Environmental Agency's latest official notice. It was exactly as I had said. Xu Haicheng's blood instantly turned cold. If he bought this land, it wouldn't just cost $5 million, he'd lose another $10 million in cleanup fees. As for his breeding base, he couldn't use it for years. It was a total trap. The auctioneer was stunned by this sudden turn of events, but began the countdown anyway.
$5 million once, $5 million twice.
Xu Haicheng's lawyer shouted in panic.
Wait! Key defects were concealed here. We withdraw the bid.
After an emergency meeting, considering the new agency report, the court allowed Xu Haicheng to retract that spiteful $5 million bid. Now, no one in the room dared to bid. Who would take on a toxic money pit costing $10 million? Lu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang in the back completely broke down, wailing in absolute despair. This meant their assets were worthless and had become a burden. They would even lose that $2 million credit. Just as the judge was to announce no sale had been made, I raised my paddle again. Since no one wants it, I'll offer the base price of $2 million. Everyone was stunned. Li Jiangguo was so terrified that she grabbed my sleeve.
Xiao Chen, have you lost your mind? That's a toxic site. You'll lose $10 million.
Xu Haicheng looked at me like I was insane, then burst into a fit of malicious laughter.
Chen Mo, are you stupid? Spending $2 million on wasteland and wasting another $10 million? Fine, fine. I'll watch you go broke with my own eyes.
$2 million, 3 times, sold.
The gavel fell hard. I stood up, adjusted my suit, and walked straight to Xu Haicheng. Meeting his cold, deadly glare, I leaned into his ear, and in a voice only he could hear, I whispered a single sentence. Chairman Xu, did you forget what my technology at Dahuang Village is called? The laughter froze on his face. The micro-ecological biocycle algorithm. The toxic sludge others spend years and $10 million to clear. Once my system is connected, it only takes 6 months to turn all toxins into nutrients for bottom dwellers. Not only will it not cost a dime, but this 800 acres of land will, in a few months, become a massive hatchery for my second batch of crystal shrimp. I should thank you for backing off, Chairman Xu, letting me expand my business at such a bargain price. Xu Haicheng gasped in shock, his steps faltering. If Wang Kai hadn't held him up, he would have collapsed into the chair. His proud financial mastery, before this tech-savvy young man, was played like a total fool. Xu Haicheng's eyes turned bloodshot with rage.
Chen Mo, you're asking for trouble.
Ignoring his useless rage, I strode out of the auction hall. The sunlight was blinding, but the show was only half over. Having secured Baishui Village's base, Dahuang Village's capacity will increase 10 times. I knew that an infuriated Xu Haicheng would never let this go. That afternoon, a seafood wholesaler and fresh food distributor in the capital with a strict order from Xu Haicheng's group. A brutal corporate war had officially begun. In September, the autumn heat was still fierce, but inside Dahuang Village's newly built industrial base, the atmosphere was ice cold. Old village chief Li Jiangguo held a tattered phone book, his hands shaking so hard his glasses barely stayed on. All morning long, he had called over 2 major distributors in the province.
Old Li, It's not that I won't help, but Xu Haicheng gave the order if anyone buys a single shrimp from Dawang Village, they'll lose all their import quotas tomorrow. We have families to feed. We can't provoke them.
Li Jianguo hung up the last call in despair, looking at me with tearful eyes.
Xiao Chen? Xu Haicheng has blocked all the roads in the province. We just took over 800 acres of Baishui Village's ponds, and production has tenfold. The daily cost of shrimp larvae and utilities is a bottomless pit. If we can't sell them, we won't last half a month.
I sat there, typing code quickly on my laptop, without even looking up. What's the rush? The provincial ponds are too small to satisfy my appetite anyway. Just then, the phone on the table rang. It was Zhou Hong, the procurement director of Dingxixuan. As soon as the call connected, Zhou Hong's voice sounded exhausted and guilty.
Brother Chen, I'm sorry. That old bastard, Xu Haicheng, cut off our group's high-end seafood supply chain. The big boss couldn't handle the pressure and just gave a strict order to terminate the partnership with you. I'll follow the protocol for the contract and pay $2 million in liquidated damages. My brother, big brother, is useless. I can't protect your golden reputation anymore.
Zhou Hong's voice was full of frustration. As an expert who knows ingredients best, watching the premium crystal shrimp be forced out by capital was more painful than anything for him. Press the last enter key. On the screen, a logistics system named Aurora Starlink sees its progress bar hit 100%. Old Joe, I don't blame you. I pick up the black coffee at my side and take a sip, my voice disturbingly calm. As a friend, I'll give you a word of advice. Leave the company early. The moment Dingxixuan yielded to capital, it was already kicked off the top-tier catering table in the country. Hanging up the phone, I look at the dense, flashing green data nodes on the screen, a cold smile appearing on my lips. Xu Haicheng thinks that by cutting off the province's wholesalers and hotel chains, he can trap me in Dawang Village. He's just a local tyrant of traditional channels. He doesn't understand that to a real digital supply chain architect, the old multi-level distribution model is just a pile of junk destined for the trash. I close my laptop and stand up. Uncle Lee, notify all the workers. Starting from 8 tonight, we're pulling up the nets for a massive shrimp harvest.
Harvesting shrimp? To sell to whom? Boss Zhou has already broken the contract.
Sell to the whole country. I walked to the massive map on the wall, picked up a red marker, and at the provincial high-speed rail hub, the airport, and the nearby 3 major provincial capitals, I drew several heavy circles. Since Xu Haicheng ruined our provincial market, we'll just shatter the ceiling entirely. 10 o'clock that night, on the top floor of Xu Haicheng Group headquarters, Xu Haicheng held a glass of red wine, sitting before the floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking the city's night view, feeling triumphant.
Chairman Xu, it's all handled. In 10 days at most, his cash flow will definitely break. Then we can move in and take over his ruin.
Young people are just too headstrong. They don't know how to bow down.
Xu Haicheng gave a contemptuous smile.
Go. Tell Chen Mo this. If he kneels at the entrance and begs me, and hands over the crystal shrimp breeding tech, I might consider buying his scrap stock at $10 per pound.
Yes, Chairman Xu is brilliant.
Just as Wang Kai was about to turn and head out, on Xu Haicheng's desk, the red secure line suddenly let out a sharp ring. The call was cut off abruptly. Xu Haicheng stood there like he was struck by lightning, feeling his blood freeze instantly. Before he could even recover, the office intercom, Wang Kai's phone, and even Xu Haicheng's private cell at that very moment all exploded with rings at the same time. Wang Kai scrambled to answer the phone, his face turning pale as a ghost.
Xu, Chairman Xu, we've got a big problem. Chang'an Club in the capital, the airline's first-class catering, and even the biggest private club in the city are all calling to cancel their contracts. They said they found a better, more reliable fresh seafood supplier.
Who is it? Who is that supplier?
Wang Kai gulped hard, his voice trembling.
Starlink Fresh. The legal representative is Chen Mo. Xu Haicheng's grip loosened. He stumbled back 2 steps and slammed into the desk. He finally understood what Chen Mo meant by saying the water could even drown an elephant.
Chen Mo didn't bother looking for any traditional middlemen. He used his background as a big tech supply chain architect to build a cloud-based direct supply system connecting high-speed rail and aviation cold chains. Bypassing all middlemen, he airdrops directly from the source across the entire country. This isn't a business war. This is an absolute slaughter from a higher dimension. Under the weight of immense anxiety, Xu Haicheng felt a sudden sweetness in their throat as a mouthful of fatal red splattered directly onto the expensive carpet. Just 1 short week, the fresh produce landscape of the provincial capital went a transformation akin to a level 12 earthquake. Having lost the support of top national restaurant clients, the capital chain of Xu Haicheng Group snapped instantly. The banks frantically recalled loans, suppliers caused a bank run, and the once dominant seafood empire became like a building with its foundation drained, tottering on the brink. But even worse off were the people of Baishui village beneath the Shu Group headquarters. Several security guards swung black rubber batons, savagely knocking down a group of ragged and gaunt people. Led by Lu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiangxil, orders were plastered onto the front doors of every single one of their households yesterday. The collective assets of Baishui village only auctioned for $2 million, and after deducting that, they were still burdened by Shu Haiqing Group debt of $13 million. Desperate villagers, forced to walk like beggars all the way to the capital, knelt before the Shu Group building, begging Shu Haiqing to show mercy and waive those ruinous breach of contract fines.
President Wang, please, have some mercy.
Get lost. Don't get my clothes dirty.
Wang Kai irritably kicks Lu Guangsheng away. At this moment, Wang Kai has long since lost his usual arrogance. His eyes are sunken, and his mouth is full of blisters. The group is struggling to survive right now. Shu Haiqing has spent these few days in the office, smashing countless things. Seeing Baishui village and these unlucky pests, he feels only pure disgust.
It was your Shu Haicheng that set a trap to screw us over. There was nothing wrong with that cold chain equipment. You used free shipping as a lure to set a trap, just to swallow our village. Now you've ruined us and left us bankrupt. You want money? No way.
Fine. You bunch of idiots. What can you do besides cause trouble? Beat them up. As long as you don't take them out, beat them ruthlessly. Break their legs. Let them spend the rest of their lives in wheelchairs, begging to pay back their debts.
Over 10 security guards raised their heavy rubber batons, pouncing like predators on the unarmed villagers. The dull thuds of batons on flesh and screams instantly filled the entire square. Just as the villagers of Baishui village were beaten within an inch of their lives, sinking into the depths of utter despair, a low and violent engine roar suddenly echoed from afar. Next, 10 heavy cold chain trucks, like steel behemoths, drove into the headquarters of Shu Group, blocking the gate and every exit cleatly shut. On the truck bodies, the 4 giant logos of Laser Starlink shined in the sunlight, blinding Wang Kai's eyes. Then, a black Maybach blew up steadily. The door slid open, and as I stepped out, I looked coldly at this petty civil war. Following behind me was the old village chief Li Jiangguo of Dahuang village, and several strong, newly reformed young men who are now the Starlink logistics managers from Dahuang village. They stood sharp in suits, looking vibrant and fresh, a stark, cruel contrast to the beaten villagers of Baishui village lying on the ground like trash. Xiao Qiang lies in the mess, struggling to look up. The moment he sees me, he's completely stunned. The despair in his eyes is instantly swallowed by regret and total defeat.
Chen Mo. Xiao Chen, President Chen, you're here to save us, right? You're a big boss now. Help us pay off our debts. We'll go back to Baishui village and farm shrimp for you again. No, we'll even be your dogs.
I look down, watching that hand trying to grab my leg. I step back slightly and dodge it. Director Liu, are you deaf? I told you long ago. If I ever returned to Baishui village, it would be as the asset owner to take over, not for charity. I turn my head toward the square, at the trembling guards and the pale Wang Kai. Why did you stop? Keep going. Shu Group, don't you love violent debt collecting? Wang Kai shudders, dropping his radio to the ground. How would he dare touch me now? The whole province knows that Chen Mo is the nation's top fresh food tycoon. He controls an elite, high-level logistics network. With just a simple word, the moguls waiting for his shrimp could crush Shu Group for good. Wang Kai stuttered, forcing a smile more painful than crying.
President Chen.
Shut it. You're not worthy of talking to me. Tell Shu Haiqing to get down here. Just then, heavy footsteps echoed from behind the crowd. Surrounded by several executives, Shu Haiqing walked out with a grim expression. In just a few days, his once perfectly styled hair was a complete mess. His eyes were bloodshot, making him look 10 years older.
Chen Mo, N 2024. There is no need for such cruelty. I admit my defeat this time. I underestimated your advanced technology. Listen, let's make a deal. Invest in my group, use my offline warehouses, and your online logistics, and we can team up. As for the $13 million Baishui village owes, I'll take it as a gift and wipe it all out. What do you think?
Hearing those words, the Baishui village villagers on the ground stopped their wailing, staring at me with hope as they held their breath. If I just nod, they can leave this hell and return to normal life. I looked at Shu Haiqing quietly and suddenly laughed. Laughter grew louder, filled with cold mockery. Shu Haiqing, don't you understand the situation yet? What I want is your total destruction. You take a failing mess on the brink of bankruptcy and talk to me about partnering up? I turned around, the briefcase in Li Jiangguo's hand. I pulled out a thick document and slammed it mercilessly onto Shu Haiqing's face, papers scattering everywhere. The fresh food market you want, I've already swallowed it whole. As for the deal you mentioned, I didn't come here today to talk business at all. Xu Haicheng looked down at the documents on the floor. The moment he saw the title on the first page, it was as if all his strength was drained, his legs gave out, and he fell straight to his knees. It was ironclad evidence, containing endless transfer records and secret double contracts. I am here to report to the Police and Tax Bureau an official complaint against Shu Group for suspected fraud, signing double contracts, massive tax evasion, and hiring thugs to cause trouble. As my voice trailed off, from the edge of the square, deafening police sirens grew louder. 6 police cars came roaring in, completely cutting off Shu Group's last way out. The final blow has finally landed. Along with the cold sound of handcuffs, Xu Haicheng and Wang Kai were escorted into the police cars. What awaits them will be a long investigation and a lifetime behind bars. Shu Group's assets were completely frozen. The former aquatic tycoon who dominated the business world was ruined in a single afternoon. 3 days later, the August sun at Baishui village was still brutal. The air was thick with the rot of a nauseating stench. The water's surface was covered by a thick layer of toxic green algae. The once vibrant village now looked like a place ruined by a plague. Several SUVs came to a steady stop at the village committee gates. The doors opened, and I stepped onto this land, a land I poured my heart into, only to be ruthlessly exiled. In the courtyard, hundreds of Baishui village villagers sat slumped together. They no longer had the arrogance they felt when taking the money. Everyone looked battered and utterly wasted. Though Shu Group has fallen, the court's judgment stands. Collective assets of Baishui village have been auctioned to pay off debts. Their personal houses and savings remain on the verge of being seized and frozen at any moment. At the front of the crowd, Liu Guangsheng had his arm in a cast. Zhao Qiang hunched over in pain from a broken rib. When they saw me approaching, they trembled violently, their eyes filled with terror and a sliver of desperate hope. Tear them down. I turned my head and ordered the youths of Dahuang village. A few nimble young men immediately stepped forward to the village office compound, the seals on the cold chain base gates, and ripped them all off. Next, they took out brand new titanium signs, drilling them firmly into the wall. Cold, bold letters on the sign read, Aurora Starlink, second living breeding base. Liu Guangsheng swallowed hard, and supported by 2 villagers, he barely managed to stand, forcing a flattering smile that looked worse than crying.
Chen, President Chen, you, and you, did you buy the village? Then can we go back to the old days and work for you again?
Uncle Guangsheng, you might misunderstand the term bought out. For $2 million, I bought all the pond contracts and usage rights here for the cold chain base. In other words, from today, all 800 acres of Baishui village, every drop of water, every blade of grass, and even the mud you're standing on, all belongs to me. I took a stack of labor contracts from my briefcase and tossed them on the ground in front of them. Shu Group is in liquidation. That $10 million in debt from those broken contracts, the court suspended the enforcement. You don't have to live on the streets yet. But here, I never keep any useless people. I pointed to those hundreds of acres of foul-smelling, toxic ponds, my voice cold as an icy blade. Because you use cheap chemical feed just to save money, the silt in these ponds is heavily contaminated. To set up my ecosystem, all the toxic mud on the top 30 centimeters must be cleared by hand. That's 800 acres of sludge, and machines can't get in there. I want you to dig it out bit by bit, and move it to the purification pools. Your wage will be at the lowest market rate, $100 a day, plus lunch. As soon as I spoke, the crowd erupted in chaos.
$100 a day? And we have to dig out toxic mud? That stench could be fatal.
Chen Mo, you're heartless and greedy. We are your elders, and you're treating us like animals.
Zhao Qiang's eyes turned red, clutching broken ribs and yelling.
Chen, don't push us too far. At most, we'll just quit and find work elsewhere.
Get a job outside? I suddenly burst out laughing, a laugh filled with sorrow and mockery. I pulled out a credit blacklist and pointed it at them. All of you are now court-listed dishonest debtors. In other words, deadbeats. You can't buy high-speed rail tickets, can't take the bus, and even in town, at any legitimate factory, the moment they check your ID, you'll be kicked out. You can't even open a bank account. So how will you work elsewhere? You are now invisible to society. Except for here. Nowhere in the entire province would dare hire you. Didn't you want a reality check? This is your reality. Silence fell over the crowd. Only the wind moaned over the mud pits. All dignity, luck, and greed, at this moment, were crushed by my cold data and harsh rules. Liu Guangsheng's knees buckled, collapsing to the ground again, weeping bitter tears. They finally realized that for a few petty profits, they had sold away their precious freedom.
I'll sign.
A scrawny villager's hand trembled, picking up the contract from the ground, and pressed a blood-red thumbprint. With the first came the second. Soon, hundreds of villagers queued up, like the Walking Dead, to sign this labor contract that felt like a bill of sale. I nodded with satisfaction and put away the contract. Good. Since you signed it, You follow my rules. Those bad habits like slacking or cutting corners had better stop now. I snapped my fingers, and several truck beds opened. The workers of Dahuang Village carried down crates of black electronic devices. They were items resembling sports bracelets. I picked one up and coldly announced the new management rules. This is a Starlink system, vital sign monitoring, and GPS tracking bracelet. Everyone must wear it all day. It monitors your heart rate and location in real time. During working hours, if the system detects a heart rate below the labor threshold for over 10 minutes, or if you leave the cleanup zone, the system will automatically deduct your entire daily wage. If anyone dares to break the bracelet, or leaves toxic mud behind due to laziness, I will call 911 immediately for damaging core equipment. Xu Haicheng is lonely in prison. You're welcome to join him. Digital monitoring and heartless algorithmic management. This is my tailor-made life sentence for these Baishui village villagers who betrayed me. Watching the villagers tremble as they put on the cold black wristbands, it was like putting on heavy electronic shackles. I turned around to head back to the city as the infrastructure here no longer needed my attention. 2 months later, winter had arrived. 800 acres of heavily polluted ponds in Baishui village were completely sealed off by 3-meter-high electric wire fences. Cold wind howled, carrying frozen snowflakes. Liu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang, dressed in tattered waterproof rubber suits, stood waist-deep in the freezing mud, swinging their shovels like machines. Their once pampered, grease-filled bodies from taking bribes were now skeletal, faces covered in purple chilblains. The black monitoring wristband on Zhao Qiang suddenly flashed a sharp red light, and the loudspeaker nearby, mounted on a utility pole, instantly emitted
a soulless AI voice. Number 007. Zhao Qiang's heart rate is below the labor threshold. First warning. If today's 3-ton dredging quota is not met, all rations will be revoked.
Followed by bottom-tier liquidation. Hearing those words, Zhao Qiang shivered in pure terror, and like a madman, he desperately shoveled the pungent, chemical-smelling black mud into the cart. He didn't dare stop, not even to catch his breath. I have set for them an incredibly brutal, limitless survival game. Inside this real-life prison camp enclosed by wire fencing, their daily quota of dredging is their life value. Meeting the quota gets them a hot meal of brown rice and a heated collective dormitory. Missing it means losing survival points, and being sent to freeze in roofless, abandoned kilns. Once their points reach 0, they'll be stripped of this only available job that keeps them alive through the winter. They'll be tossed out of the fence to face a hopeless society where they have no place to go.
I don't want to go. I don't want to be kicked out.
Lu Guangsheng sheds muddy tears while using frozen fingers to dig through the toxic mud. They are like a group of low-level NPCs trapped forever in a cycle of doom. They spend their last bit of strength every day just for basic survival. No rest, no dignity, using every drop of sweat for the rest of their lives to pay the endless interest on the absolute stupidity of their greed and betrayal. Suddenly, a black luxury van stops outside the wire fence. After I step out, Li Jiangguo and some executives approach me respectfully.
President Chen, the toxic mud cleanup at Baishui village is going much faster than expected. Production can start in less than 6 months. The genetic breeding for the second-generation crystal shrimp at Dahuang village is complete. The first 200 tons of premium stock are already loaded onto our newly acquired refrigerated ocean freighter. I glance over at the unrecognizable villagers of Baishui village
and give a faint nod. Good job. Through the electrified wire fence 50 meters away, Liu Guangsheng and Zhao Qiang seem to hear us. They lift their mud-caked, stench-ridden faces, staring at me blankly. Their eyes, there's no more jealousy, more hatred, even a plea, only numbness and awe. I stop looking at them and get back in the car. Soon after, my private jet takes off, heading toward a new battlefield.